Hey, comic book fans! Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do the countdown, episode number 99. That's right, fans. Next week is the big 100. What better way to do it with that Secret Wars issue number 1? That's right, fans. But first, before we get to that episode 100, we got to do episode 99. And this week, we have 14 comic books to talk about. And I'll be counting down from my worst pick, which was number 14. I'll going down all the way to that top spot, which is number 1. Who will be the worst? Who will be the best? We'll stick around and find out. So here we go, everybody. Number 14 is Convergence, issue number 4. Just not feeling it, guys. Convergence is just not the event I expected from DC. Nothing against DC, but this is just gone in a complete direction that I find myself at times lost. I don't know who Damios is. I know very little about the character, even after reading this particular issue. The one thing I get more out of this story is the whole Dick Grayson type of story. You get to see Telos, who actually explains to Grayson that, he is not the enemy, that he can be his god. Grayson, you find out based off of the last issue, is paralyzed, but with a little help from Telos, making him wear this silver silicone suit or whatever it is that he has, Grayson can now walk again. By the time you get to this end of this issue, you find out the whole meaning behind Damios here, or what he's trying to do and trying to accomplish by taking over this world or whatnot. And at the very end, you wind up seeing that he has the chance or the opportunity to free Brainiac here. So again, I'm just not feeling it. I don't know some of these characters in here. I didn't think that the other two characters would be the main focal point. I thought we would get a whole bunch of different universes fighting together in the actual main Convergence series, and at times we don't even get that in the actual side stories with Convergence. So I'm very disappointed with it. The one thing, though, I must say that Convergence is doing a very good job in is the art department. The artwork is just beautiful in here. I love looking at the pages in this book. The colors are so great. They're rich and bold. And just the action scenes are really nice in here. Here's another really great page. So visually, this book has got it all going for it. But for me, the actual story, I'm just not feeling it. I'm really bored reading it, and I'm just waiting for something to really happen, and nothing's happened yet at all. And so after reading this one, I gotta give this one. I'm going to give this one probably a 3 out of 5 stars. This is an average read. I'll give it up to you guys. Some of you DC fans might know who Damios is and where he comes from, so this might be entertaining for you. But for me, it's just an average book. It doesn't stand out for me. So that was 3 out of 5 stars. There wasn't really many bad books this week. There wasn't any bad books. Everything was average. It's just what I like better than the other this week. All right, so going on to number 13. Number 13 was, not this book, was this book right here, Star Wars Princess Leia, issue number 3. Same thing with Princess Leia this time around. I don't know, for some reason I couldn't really get into this particular issue. I thought that the artwork was a decent style of artwork in here, but again, we get Princess Leia and her little sidekick being portrayed as, I think it was Imperials in there. So, I mean, it was an okay book, but nothing that really stood out to me that I can sit here and remember, oh my God, this was really good. When I first read this issue, I thought the first issue was good. Second issue was okay, but this issue for me, this third one, was probably more of the weakest of the 3. And this is probably my weakest series. Here we get the next issue coming up. I like the cover here, but again, guys, this one is probably my least favorite series because it's not going to continue once this this 5-issue series is over, because then she's going to be part of Star Wars at this point. But it's okay. Same thing. I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. All right, so next we're going to go on to number 12. And number 12 was Convergence, the Crime Syndicate. This is the one and only tie-in book that I got with the actual Convergence event. And part of it reason was being that I had to do a review over on Comic Frontline for it, so that's why I wound up getting it. But the reason why I picked this book to review was because I could relate to this group, because I read them in the Forever Evil series. So I wanted to compare the new Forever Evil group to the Crime Syndicate from the future to now. And I like the book. I like the book. The tones are where it's going. I love the artwork into it. It has that old style, that like 60s type of style artwork in there, which I really enjoyed. And I love the narration in the beginning of the book. And it's got Superwoman in there doing her own narration. And you can see that she's writing in a diary, and she's discussing about how all things come to an end. So what happens in this book is you wind up witnessing that she's on the death penalty. For when the dome came down, someone died, and it was on the Crime Syndicate's watch. And being that they're on the regular, on this world and this particular Earth, and it wasn't on the Crime Syndicate's Earth, they look at them as the backwards superheroes. So the Crime Syndicate go and they try to save Superwoman. But they don't get there in time, and it's Superwoman winds up getting electrocuted in this issue. One thing, though, I didn't like is you had to deal with this other version, this 853rd century Metropolis. And when I read this, I was kind of just like exiling that from my mind. I really didn't care so much about that. They had to deal with these clones of Lex Luthors that they had to battle against. And by the time you get to the end of this issue, it looks like they're going to have to do battle against each other. But I wasn't really intrigued by that at all. I was just intrigued by the story of Superwoman, the Crime Syndicate, and them trying to rescue the comrade. Really great artwork, though, like I said in here. I thought it was, again, nice book to look at. So after reading this book, I gave this one a 3.25 out of 5. It was just above better than average for me. Decent story there when it has to do with Superman and these guys trying to rescue her. So 3.25 from me. All right, so we're going on to number 11, and number 11 goes to the Fantastic Four, issue number 645. You know what? This series has been really good for me. I know some people dropped off of this. It's a story that went on for a very long time, and then you finally get to the end of this particular story. And, you pay $5.99 for this book. It's $6. It's a thick book. I thought the whole book had to deal with the story, but it doesn't. It is oversized story. However, you get, little stories in here that have to deal with, the Human Torch, the Thing, Sue Storm, things like that. And I was hoping to get more of a main story. But the main problem with this particular issue was that I love the artwork, though. Leonard Kirk has been phenomenal with his artwork. However, the main part of this story is that we find out that it kind of just ends. It was like a story arc that ended, and we're going to go to the next story arc next month. That's the way it seemed to me. They defeated Psycho Man, they closed the portal, Johnny Storm gets his powers back, Quiet Man's defeated, and game over. Nothing really memorable. And in my opinion, if this is supposedly the end of the Fantastic Four, even if it's not a permanent thing, you'd think you'd do something a little bit more memorable than that. Because 2 months from now, even a month from now, being everything that's going on in Marvel, do you think people are going to remember Fantastic Four issue 645? Or when you go 10 years from now and go, hey, do you remember Fantastic Four issue 645? No, what was that story about? Well, that was the conclusion. So that's why it got lower on this countdown, because it just was not a good ending. Good story, not a good ending. So at the end of this one, I gave this one probably 3.5 out of 5 stars. And that was number 11. So going on, we're going to go on to our top 10. Number 10. And number 10 was Jim! That's right. The introduction to the Misfits. This was a cool book. I love the cover because it has to do with the main band leader of the Misfits, and her name is, I forgot her name offhand, was Pizzazz. That's right. Her name is Pizzazz, and her short name is Fizz or Biz or whatever it is. That just rhymed, but I didn't even mean to. Anyway, Jem has great artwork. I love the artwork that's always introduced here. Great colors. I mean, it fits today's look and society, but it kind of plays tribute to those people from the 80s. I love the way the Misfits were portrayed here. They're this punk rock type of band. They actually go out and they do this battle of the bands type of thing. It really fits in again to today's society because they're all over social media. Videos go viral, and we wind up finding out in this issue that Jem and the Holograms make their first video, and they're just starting to get popular. And we get to witness that throughout this issue. You get introduced to the reporter in here. His name is Rio. He meets up with Jen for the first time. So really great things that start to develop. Good character moments here by Jerica's sister, which is Kimber. She's really happy that the video is doing real well. And by the time you get to the end of this issue, we wind up seeing that what is going to be their future rivals. You get one of the Misfits band members called Storm. Her name is Stormer. And Kimber, they wind up having coffee together, which is funny. And then you get to see Pizzazz. She's all pissed off and freaked out. So cool stuff. I like the issue. I like the series. I love the covers. I think they're really cool. Not a bad read whatsoever. I really enjoy it. So after reading this one, I think I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This was really good for me. So this is Jem issue number 2. All right, so going on to number 9 this week. And number 9 was Superman issue number 40. John Romita Jr. is the writer and is the actual artist in this particular book. In this issue, we wound up witnessing that Superman is experimenting on his powers. He wants to figure out how to trigger this actual flare that he has, this solar flare, and to continue it, and what happens to him and people around him. So as he's experiment, Batman picks him up. Batman is a little maybe too humorous in here. I've never seen Batman make so many jokes in my life, but he is humorous. And one of the funny things is like whenever John Romita Jr. can, he will not draw a cape on Batman. I have noticed that. I don't know what it is, but Batman's never has a cape on. He's smiling, he's drinking coffee. He's like laid back Batman in here. But they do a ton of experimental tests on Superman to see, how strong he is while he's trying to regain his power. And again, you get to see Cyborg shooting guns at him, Batman shooting guns at him, no cape. And you get to see, Wonder Woman punching him out. So you get to see that experimentation. One of the funny things in this book, which is kind of weird, is that Superman being normal, he wants to enjoy everyday human life. So he goes out with all the other people, all the other Justice League members, after doing all these tests and how to trigger his powers. They wind up going out on the town, and Superman gets drunk. I mean, he's like sloppy drunk here. He like winds up collapsing. He's got this scruffy beard like Mike Spider Slayer does right now, and and he wakes up. He wakes up with his hangover, which it might be a little bit out of character for a lot of people, but I kind of found it humorous just the way it was drawn because he's got flies in his bed and stuff. It's just like he's trying to brush his teeth. It's something that you don't normally see. So I was personally okay with it. Maybe diehard Superman fans weren't. And by the time you get to the end of this, he's not super powered yet. He hasn't gotten his powers back. So he has some strength, can jump far, and he gets beat up by a couple thugs that got some powerful guns here. And then what happens is they wind up capturing him. They wind up capturing him on camera. And he winds up going back to the Daily Planet, and Lois witnesses what, you know, who he is, and he's Clark, and he's beat up, and it's the same thing, and she winds up outing him out. That's what happens. And then if you read the Divergence issue, you wind up finding out that people know his secret, and that's why he's going to wear what he wears going forward in the DC universe. I thought it was an entertaining issue. I thought they maybe spent a little bit too much time on the whole let's experiment with your powers thing, but there were some entertaining moments here, and where Superman goes from here, I'm not sure, but we'll see. And I like the book. It was a 4-star book for me. If you get over John Romita Jr.'s art, which at this point you just have to, it presents a decent story here. All right, so moving forward now, we're going to go on to, let me just double check. Yep, going on to number 8, and number 8 this week was Silk, Catfight. This book took all 5 minutes to read, if that. In this issue, but I do like Silk. There's something there that I like about it. Not sure if it's the quirky artwork, or it's the dialogue that Silk has to offer, or maybe the simplicity of the book. It's not a very complicated book. The other Spider books seem to be that way, where Silk is kind of a complicated person, where she has to try to find her parents, trying to find her way in her life. But when you're reading the book, it doesn't seem that way. But in this issue, you wind up coming up against Cindy Moon, coming up the superpowered dragon guy, who Cindy Moon calls as a Pokemon once again. And we find out that this person is, she finds out who this person is after she literally beats the shit out of this guy. And it's cool because you wind up seeing flashbacks again of her right before she goes into this bunker. And she comes across the guy, and she finds out that the guy is really just an average Joe Schmo. And all he wants to do, he's single, he wants to take care of his kids, but this is the only way he can make money and support his kids. So he goes on his way. Black Cat comes, starts fighting Cindy Moon. That's what we get in this particular issue. And then you get to see towards the end of the story, him coming home to his kid, paying the babysitter, and the guy wants to try to straighten out his life. At the very end here, we see Cindy Moon. She's struggling with things, and she comes across Spider-Man, and Cindy's just really reluctant about having Spider-Man just helping her. She's just against it, and she goes, and Spider-Man goes, you know what? Maybe you should get the Fantastic Four. So it looks like the Fantastic Four are going to be in the next issue. I enjoy it. I enjoy the book for what it is. Nothing too overly complicated. It's around the same area for Superman for me. I have fun with it. 4 out of 5 stars for me. All right. Moving on, we're going to go on to number 7. And number 7 was Nova, issue number 30. Nova was a good read this week. It continues the whole thing with his father searching for his dad, going against the Chitauri. The cool thing is he finds his father. This was the moment, I think, of a reader of Nova that you've been waiting for this entire time. And it was nice to see that character moment in there. Artwork is solid in here. David Baldwin is the artist. He's been on here for a little while now. And then throughout this book, we wind up seeing that he's doing battle against this character. I forgot his name, the main boss of the Chitauri or whatever. But he's throwing these asteroids at Earth. It's just not 1 or 2 of them, dude. He's throwing like hundreds at them. Okay, and then Sam's got to go there, and he's got to stop them. And he's like he thinks he's all badass because he stopped like 1 or 2 of them. But then by the time the end comes, it's just like there's just like he needs some serious help. And we'll find out what happens on issue number 31. Nova is a great series. It's solid. Has, again, good character moments. I like the story when he's more home than anything because he has to do with everyday family life. But I get that he's trying to find his father. And it was good to see that character moment there with his dad. And I'm just very interested to see what's going to happen with him and his dad, what kind of relationship they're going to have going forward. So after reading this one, I gave this one same thing, 4 out of 5 stars. All right, going on. We're moving forward. We're going on to number 6. And number 6 was Invincible issue 119. Really close to being that top 5 book, but once again, it wasn't quite there this week. It was a little bit slow for me, maybe a little bit predictable, because you wind up seeing Adam and Eve and Mark's baby here. The baby wasn't breathing, and at the end of the last issue. But you kind of knew that the baby wasn't going to die. It was just born. They moved to this new planet. We find out that really what it has to do with is the diet. Adam Eve is breastfeeding the baby. Adam Eve wound up eating some crazy food that Oliver's daughter, Oliver, which is Mark's brother, gave to them to eat, and it's just in the whole diet, just to make it short. And we can see that during this recovery process of his daughter, Mark is basically just he's really short-tempered. He blames his brother's girlfriend for it. And, but the baby's okay. Winds up living. Everything's great. And they have to go onto this special diet and whatnot. The cool thing in this book is we get to still see a battle between General Thrag and Battle Beast. And this is the battle for the population of the Vulturemites in the future. And that's still going on. Mark winds up going to Alan, who is the one-eyed Cyclops guy. And, Mark's invincible. And he says, you know what, Alan? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be the guy, the savior. I just want to protect my family. I just want to be there for them. I don't want to do anything that's life-threatening. He's like, cool. He's like, you can be the private eye. And he's like, all right, that's straight. I'll do that all day. So he gets this job as being a private eye. But just as the issue ends and they're putting the baby back to sleep, and they come to a grips of Adam Eve accepting Mark as that he got raped and he couldn't do anything about it. We find out that the doorbell rings, Mark answers it, and Battle Beast is taking the turn for the worse in that battle between General Thrag, and he said that Invincible is their only hope to saving the universe. And of course, it's like Mark is stuck in between a rock and a hard place. So, yeah, great issue, great story. This always is a great story. I'm just waiting for things to pick up. It just hasn't picked up in a very long time. But great, great book, great read, always nice story. Giving this one a 4.25. Nice read here, number 6. All right, top 5. Number 5, and this goes to Justice League, issue number 40. The kickoff to the Darkseid War, basically, the prologue. In this issue, and it's funny, we still have Convergence going on, but we're getting right on this one right now, First of all, I just wanted to say that the artwork was really well done in here. It's done by a few different artists, but it's nice. And you wind up seeing, that's Metron in that chair, in case you don't know who he is. And then you wind up seeing Darkseid's daughter for the first time in this book, too, which is gorgeous. Gorgeous art, gorgeous coloring. 2-page spreads, different universes. Really love that in here. Crisis. So good stuff in there. Really enjoyed this visually. And what this book is it's kind of like an introduction to basically Darkseid and Anti-Monitor. They're going to go to war with each other. You got this Metron guy who's just explaining over and over again. There's a world, it gets destroyed. It gets rebuilt, it gets destroyed. So it kind of almost, DC kind of pokes fun at itself at like, okay, we've rebuilt the universe 800 times and it keeps getting destroyed. We have the New 52, but it hasn't solidified yet. So and now we got Convergence going on. So it's pretty cool. And Metron's trying to avoid this war of what's going on between the two. And what's it called? And Anti-Monitor sitting there going, why would I want to avoid the war? I want Darkseid. I want him. And his Darkseid daughter makes that appearance and winds up shocking Metron here. And it looks like, again, Darkseid's daughter wants vengeance because he dumped her. And if you read Vibe the series, and I said this multiple times this week, if you read Vibe the series, she was kept in the circus in this big cell. When the place blew up at the end of that series, she escaped, and you never ever got to see her. You just saw the insignia of her, and you knew that it was Darkseid's daughter, and you finally get to witness her here, there, and in the hood, but you get to see her actually in the Divergence issue. So this was a good book. I liked it a lot. This was a good introduction to it. Same thing, giving this one, I don't remember if I gave it 4.25 or 4.5 out of 5, but this was a good read. The artwork was fantastic in this book. Definitely read this one, and that was number 5. All right, moving forward, we go on to number 4. Number 4 was the all-new Captain America. This is the conclusion to the whole Baron Zemo trying to sterile the human population so nobody can have babies, except maybe him. And you get to see, good flashbacks throughout this book that they've always done in the past when it comes to Sam Wilson and his family. And this one focused on him, wanting to have a family, how important it was to him. Stuart Amoninen's artwork is phenomenal in here. We get the German bloodsucker that's trying to go above the stratosphere to blow himself up so he can release this crazy virus amongst the earth. So it's Sam Wilson's job to sit there and stop him. Nomad's in here too, and the action is just nonstop. But again, this artwork is so nice, and I love the details, the reflection off the shield, and just the battle scenes here between Nomad and Zemo were really, really nice. Just awesome scenes. I mean, Zemo gets stabbed in the freaking back of the through the heart in here, and it's just awesome. And the cliffhanger in this book is really cool too, because in the last issue you wind up seeing Sam Wilson's mascot, Red Wing. He's alive. I guess he didn't really die. And Misty Knight, we find out that she's not really working for S.H.I.E.L.D., and she told Sam she was. So what does that mean? So very interesting stuff here. I don't know what to expect, but it's really great book, and I gave All New Captain America a shot, seeing what Sam Wilson had to offer here for readers, and I'm really enjoying it. So can't wait to read more whenever it continues. If it continues, I don't know what's going on, but we'll see where it goes. So same thing. I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. Nice read for me. All right, going forward now, we go on to, what are we on, number 3? Yep, number 3. And number 3 was Superior Iron Man, issue number 8. The continuation of this battle between Superior Iron Man and this intellectual armor, as you say. And we get to witness that the smart armor, I guess, when Tony Superior Armor from 8 years ago or whatever it is trying to take over the Access or Superior Iron Man, whatever you want to call him, and trying to take him over completely. And Pepper Potts was at first was kind of like, well, I don't know. I mean, how can you do that? And this armor's like, you can't. It's like you have to. It's like he's not the same person anymore. So interesting stuff that happened in this issue. And every time you destroy that artificial armor, it just goes to a different armor. So it goes right after Tony Stark again, and he goes back to Stark Island to try to protect himself against all his little cronies, all his little people. After he has this big orgy with everybody, and you see, intellectual armor Iron Man there building a whole bunch of different Iron Mans. So what happens in this issue is that he winds up going to Stark Island, and Iron Man winds up using his people as protection, as what this Extremis app was made to do, as make them into like these soldiers. And so he puts them around him, and he tells the armor, okay, well, what are you going to do now? And then what happens is that the armor sits there and goes, well, it's my army against your army. And he winds up getting a whole bunch of Iron Men, and they winds up rescuing the people. and they wind up doing this crazy battle with each other. So Superior Iron Man's just like, enough of this shit. I'm done with it. So he gets all his symbiotic armor, winds up souping up, and he winds up becoming this big super duper kick-ass Iron Man. That's some crazy shit right there. I don't know what's going to happen. The only thing I know is based off of the next issue, we get to see this. I'm excited about this. I want to see Pepper Potts do some kick-ass shit against freaking Superior Iron Man. This series has been really good. I really enjoyed it. I think the last issue was the weakest for me, but this one kind of picked up some more, and it went back towards closer to that #1 spot. But there was a couple more books that I seemed to enjoy much, not much better, but better than this one. And I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Artwork seems a little bit off for me. At times, too, when you get this artificial armor, it kind of plays mind games with me. I don't know. I get confused with shit like that. So, all right. So next, #2. We go on to Avengers, issue number 44. This was a good issue. I really liked this one. It was the ending to, I guess, Hickman's run on Avengers. Everything comes to a close. Now, I didn't read everything, obviously, that, you know, Hickman had to write when it came to Avengers, and I'm really interested to see. Maybe I'll get this in trade and read the whole story as a whole, and maybe I'll get and understand more when I read it together, because Hickman is like, okay, in issue 2 this happens, but in issue 38 you finally find out what happened. So here in issue 44, you finally find out that at the end of this issue is that Tony Stark admits that he kind of knew about these incursions all along, and that's how him and Steve Rogers were doing battle against each other, and that's why they formed these Avengers from issue 1 right from the beginning, because he wanted a team to maybe stop this, just as a try. But he kind of knew that there was no stopping it, because, you know, obviously Tony Stark is one of the most brilliant minds in the world, and Steve Rogers was just like, well, why were you holding this information from me instead of giving me a load of bullshit? And that's basically what happens at the end of this issue. Great artwork here. I love looking at this book. And everything that led up to the end of this was really good. You get to see moments with Black Panther and President Obama there discussing, saying, hey, the world's ending, dude, and there's nothing you can do about it. And Obama's just kind of like, well, there's got to be soldiers, there's got to be something we can do. And Black Panther's like, no, there's nothing. And he just walks away. And they're trying to prepare the human race to get ready for this impact. We get to see Ultimate Universe characters in here getting ready for the impact as well, because these are the last 2 Earths to collide. And, you know, and they're trying to get ready for their race to survive. And then when you get to the end of this, we wind up seeing the incursion just about to happening and everyone just doing battle against each other. Great stuff, man. Let me tell you. Really good ending, and just awesome to kick off going into Secret Wars. Probably one of the best Avenger issues that I've read in a long time. Really gets you excited. You can feel the suspense when you're reading this issue. It feels like a movie. It feels like something's happening, like the whole world is about to end. And I like that in comics when that happens. So I gave this one a 4.75 out of 5. All right, last but not least, #1 comic of the week went to Batman, issue number 40. It's a shame that we're not going to see the character for a while, Bruce Wayne or Batman, the real Batman. I don't know how long. I don't know what they're planning on doing with the character. It's almost like having Spider-Man, but it's Dr. Octopus. But I kind of like that run. But you can only do it for so long. How long are people going to tolerate Batman being Commissioner Gordon? Okay? But nevertheless, this particular story was a great, great issue. It was such a fun read. Nice artwork. This was nice artwork. And what happens in here is you wind up seeing Bane and everybody else and all of Batman's rogue gallery winds up trying to team up with Batman and trying to stop him. Okay? So what happens in the issue is just when you think Joker winds up getting that upper hand, you know, and he thinks he's going to win. Well, literally, did you find out it's Dick Grayson? And then what happens is Batman's already in this tunnel trying to find this antidote. And so what happens is that they wind up doing this epic, epic, epic battle. And it was just so monumental. It was just so awesome, so great, and it was just so memorable. And if you guys want to see an in-depth review on this, please, please, please watch that. It was a great viewing on my part. It had over 2,000 views, but it was just an epic battle between these two, and the way that each other died was great. So this got #1 on the list for this way. And sorry, I got to cut this a little short, but I got an important phone call here. But phenomenal read, 5 out of 5. Probably one of the best Batman issues I read from this run. And guys, there is the countdown for the week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And guys, in the comments below, tell me what your favorite comic book of the week was, what your worst comic book of the week was. And as always, fans, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. Until that next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. Thanks for watching, fans. See you soon. Bye.